This is Domino Day, an annual televised world record attempt for the highest number of toppling domino stones. Airing from 1998 to 2009 in the Netherlands, this show was a spectacular sight to behold, but the 2005 broadcast in particular garnered much attention, in no small part due to the controversy surrounding the event. How could there be any controversy surrounding a domino world record attempt? Well, the production company was Endemol. If you're not familiar with them, I have a video about a game show they staged where contestants who needed kidney transplants competed for a terminally ill woman's organs. So, clearly Endemol have a fairly controversial history, but to be fair to them, controversy was the last thing on their minds when they organised Domino Day 2005. Volunteers from over 100 countries partook in the monumental setup in the Dutch city of Leeuwarden, where 4,321,000 domino stones were arranged for the world record attempt. A phenomenal amount of preparation went into this. The dominoes were divided amongst various segments or sequences, and through the use of mosaics, elaborate mechanics and live-action actors, each sequence illustrated a story.
4.321.000 stenen verbeelden de mooiste vertellingen uit de internationale wereldliteratuur. Het wordt een voorstelling vol heldendom, passie, liefde, intriges, ja zelfs moord. We zien de verleiding en haast fatale wanhoop van Faust, de slimheid van de vos Reynarde, de liefde van de gebochelde Quasimodo voor de prachtige danseres Esmeralda en de wijsheid van de Japanse steenhouwer. To be or not to be. En de waanzin van Don Quixote zullen de dominobouwers in een race tegen de tijd testen, op hun vakmanschap en koelbloedigheid. Overwinnen zij, net als Tom Sawyer en Huckleberry Finn? Worden ze helden, als de Slavische god Svantevit en Robin Hood? Of vinden zij hun Waterloo, zoals eens de stad Troje?
Shudder to think about the time and effort that went into this, but unfortunately for those involved, their efforts were less Herculean and more Sisyphean, because when the massive project was nearly complete, just 4 days before the show, tragedy struck. A house sparrow somehow made its way into the Expo Centre where the dominoes were set up. Guess what the sparrow did? Yeah, it didn't come there to help them finish up. Inevitably, the sparrow knocked over various parts of the exhibit. Thankfully, the people involved were smart enough to include safety gaps between segments during the project's construction, to avoid an accident causing a massive chain reaction that knocked over the whole thing in one fell swoop. Thanks to this decision, they only had to restack about 23,000 dominoes in 4 days. Obviously, the sparrow had to go. If left to its own devices, it would likely destroy enough of the exhibit to make the scheduled broadcast unfeasible. A pest control company, Duke Faunabeheer, was called in. They tried to capture the sparrow with nets and sticks, but it kept getting away. Seeing the sparrow repeatedly darting away from the hunters chasing it as the volunteers rushed to fix the damage it had already wrought probably caused the event organisers a level of stress and anxiety I don't even want to think about. They decided if the sparrow wasn't willing to surrender peacefully, then no more Mr. Nice Guy. Duke Faunabeheer was given the green light to break out the big guns, and a hunter arrived at the scene with an air gun, which to a bird the size of a sparrow is a very big gun. The hunter took aim, and with the vengeance of 23,000 domino stones raging in his heart, blew the little bastard to kingdom come. This turned out to be a mistake. Although house sparrows are fairly common, their numbers have dwindled drastically with modern urbanization, leading them to be considered an endangered species in the Netherlands. The hunter had just illegally killed a member of a protected species. Duke Faunabeheer and Endemol were taken to court by a Dutch animal protection organisation. They got out of this fairly unscathed, with the hunter being fined €200. But that was not the end of their troubles. There was much public outrage over the killing of an innocent animal in order to save a television show. Usual suspects talking nonsense. Oh, she came from a rough background, she was going through a stressful time, her life was more valuable than mere property, and nary a thought spared for the victims of the sparrow's reprehensible actions. Innocent my arse. Regardless, death threats were sent to the Hunter, Duke Faunabeheer and Endemol. Radio DJ Ruud de Wilde was so incensed by the incident that he offered his listeners a reward of €3,000 to anyone who could knock over the Dominoes and ruin the show before it was filmed. Seems like a bit of a kick in the teeth for all the volunteers who worked real hard on this and had nothing to do with the killing of the poor bird, but alright. No one was able to collect this bounty, however, as security at the expo was beefed up in light of all the death threats. And so, Domino Day 2005 was broadcast as planned, and it was a pretty amazing show. I'll show some of my favourite parts here, but the entire thing is well over an hour long, which is pretty insane. The whole show is on YouTube, and I'd say it's well worth a watch if you enjoy that sort of thing. I really have to applaud the lengths they went to here. It's much more elaborate and thoughtful than just rows and rows of dominoes. This is a work of art. You either domino or you don't know. And the epic scope and ambition on display is truly mind-blowing. They even infuse a little drama by having some of the volunteers race against time to complete unfinished segments before the dominoes catch up to them. And in the end, they broke the world record with 4,321,000 dominoes. So all in all, I'd say great job, Endemol. Well, aside from shooting the bird, that part was not so great. A month after the sparrow's death, the Dutch public prosecutor relinquished its body to the Natural History Museum in Rotterdam, where it was stuffed and put on display. Apparently, the hunter who shot the bird still receives death threats to this day. So despite the record having long since been beaten, Domino Day 2005 is perhaps the most noteworthy record in Domino's history, and will remain so until someone kills 2 birds in their own attempt. I'm sure there's a joke in there about domino stones and killing 2 birds, but I'm not arsed constructing it. If you liked this video, I have many others for you to enjoy, and you can subscribe to see more in the future. You can even become a member of the channel and support me monetarily if you like me that much. And if you really love me, why not marry me? Until next time, stay safe. This is Domino Day, an annualized in the Dutch city of Leeuwarden, and live action actors, each sequence. Thanks to this decision, why is that so hard for me to say? This decision. Thanks to this decision, I still can't do it. You little bastard. Seeing the sparrow repeatedly darting away from the hunters chasing it as the volunteers rished. Would you fuck off?